What's going on, guys? Tyson Brown here, and today's question is, what are the top mistakes I see when people are doing intermittent fasting? So why is it important to avoid these mistakes? First of all, is because if you don't avoid these mistakes, then like I said, you're not going to get the full benefits out of these mistakes. A lot of people think that if they are fasting, but they're actually technically not fasting. Or a lot of people will start losing muscle mass when they're doing the fasting because they're just making simple little mistakes that it doesn't take a lot to be able to change and be able to, get out of these little ruts. So let's start with the first one. And the first mistake that people do is that they don't fully fast for the 16 hours. Now, this one is what a mistake I started making when I first started doing intermittent fasting. Because I heard about this thing called the Bulletproof Diet, right? And with the Bulletproof Diet is what you have is you actually have coffee in the morning, but you have it with MCT oil and butter. And so what I thought is, okay, well, the way he explained it is the way that your body uses it. It's technically you're still fasting. But to get the full benefits of fasting, you need to be consuming no calorie foods at all. So this is no sugar in your coffee. This is no butter in your coffee. This is no MCT oils. Anything that is going to put your body, like anything that your body is going to be able to absorb from calories is going to take you out of that intermittent fasting state. So what you want to make sure of is before you break your fast, whether it be 16 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours, whatever your goal is, you've got to make sure that you're not breaking that fast with any calories at all, okay? This can come from consuming too many BCAAs too. So what you want to have when you have your BCAAs is just a certain serving size, what it recommends, and making sure you keep it under the 25 calorie mark. Otherwise, your body's going to go out of intermittent fasting. So the first mistake that you need to avoid making is to avoid all calorie. Anything that contains any type of calorie, keep it away. I'd even suggest avoiding sweeteners before you actually break your fast. That's the first tip. So no calories in anything. Second big mistake people make is they train without BCAAs, and what happens is they lose muscle mass. So the best way for you guys to get the best results from intermittent fasting is to do your weight training right before you have your first meal of the day. So if you're going to break your fast at 1 or 2 p.m., make sure you break your fast straight after your workout, because that way you're going to fuel your body with nutrients. A lot of people say, oh, I have to work out in the morning. And look, I get it. Sometimes you have to. But then you need to have BCAAs, because if you're training fasted and then you don't have any food afterwards, you're going to start breaking down muscle mass. And that's a huge mistake people make when they try and lose body fat and do intermittent fasting at the same time, because they don't have the food afterwards, or they don't have the BCAAs to stop the muscle breakdown. What's going to happen is they're going to lose muscle mass. So to avoid mistake number 2, if you're going to train in the morning, make sure you have BCAAs before your workout and after your workout. You can watch the video that I created, just click here and it talks all about that. And also, if you've not training in the morning, make sure you have a huge meal straight afterwards to restore your glycogen energy and to also make sure that you're reducing your muscle mass breakdown. The third thing that I want to talk about is people who they don't count their calories. So if you're on intermittent fasting, you still need to be tracking your macronutrients every day. You need to be knowing how much protein, carbs, and fat you're eating. Because if you're not tracking these foods and you're someone who can binge a lot, what's going to happen is you're going to go over that and you're not going to lose fat. Or another big mistake I'm going to talk about, so these two are going to go together, is not eating enough. Because a lot of people, when you have a shorter period to eat, you're not going to eat enough. Now look, you still want to lose body fat, but you still need to have enough calories to get the hormones functioning, to making sure that you're not having muscle breakdown, and to make sure you're getting the best results. So keep in mind that when you're doing intermittent fasting, I always recommend you still track your food intake using things like MyFitnessPal or a food diary to know how much you're eating every day, so that way you're not binging like I used to do, or that way you're consuming enough calories during the day. Really need to make sure that's key on point, because otherwise you're going to lose muscle mass or you're just going to prevent your fat loss. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is breaking your fast early. Some people can't tolerate having intermittent fasting for a long period of time, and they want to break it early. And if you want the full benefits, you need to be fasting for at least 14 to 16 hours, right? And it's really, really easy for you guys to do this if you just stop fasting earlier during the night, if you start your fast earlier during the night. So I usually like to start my fast at about 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. That way, when I go to bed at 9 or 10 p.m. and I wake up and it's 6 or 7, you've already got, like that amount of time put in. So try and start your fasting earlier during the day if you can. That way, you're going to be able to wake up and you're going to be closer to your fast. Because if you can't handle it at the end of the day, well then intermittent fasting is not going to be for you. But you need to think about, are you making some of these mistakes and how are you going to avoid them? So I'm just going to go over them really quickly again. So making sure you avoid your muscle mass breakdown by having BCAAs if you're going to have a workout in the morning, or having a big post-workout meal after your workout. Making sure you're getting enough calories in during the day and making sure you're not over-consuming your calories, right? Being in a fully fasted state all the time, making sure that you're not consuming calories from any types of food, any types of coffee, any of that crap, making sure it's all 0 calorie, black coffee, no milk, none of that stuff. Putting your fasting back, so try and start it a little bit earlier so that way you can go to sleep and wake up and you've already started in that fasting zone. They're the tip of the day, guys. What I want you to do is choose one action step. What I want you guys to do from now on is to start tracking your macros every day to make sure you're getting enough food. Also, I want you to pick up the checklist about intermittent fasting. This is going to tell you everything you need to know, and it's right down below. It's a free guide that's going to say, okay, this is what I need to do, this is how long I need to fast for. It's got it all set out for you. So click on the link below and get it now. Speak to you guys next time.